Does your child instantly go into no mode? No, I don't want to. You can't make me. Or the classic, you're not the boss of me. And suddenly you're thinking, why is everything a battle? Why won't they just listen? If that sounds like your house, you're not alone. And today I'm walking you through exactly how to respond to defiance without yelling, without bribing, and without losing your mind. Defiance isn't a sign that your child is broken, spoiled, or trying to win. It's a sign they're overwhelmed, dysregulated, and lacking the skills to follow through with what you're asking. Kids push back when they feel powerless, disconnected, or overloaded. Sometimes that looks like arguing, sometimes like ignoring what you're saying, and sometimes it looks like, you can't make me. But remember, behavior is communication. Now let's look at this through a brain science lens for a moment. When your child becomes defiant, their brain shifts into protection mode. That's the part of the brain that's wired for survival, not cooperation, not logic, and definitely not calm. In protection mode, your child literally cannot access the skills they need to follow through with what you're asking. Things such as flexibility, impulse control, problem solving, and emotional regulation have gone offline and out the window. So the no you're hearing isn't really about the backpack they won't pick up, or the shoes they won't put on, or the sibling they just shoved. It's about overwhelm. Once you understand what's underneath the no, you can respond in a way that brings more cooperation and not more conflict and battles. When we help a child shift out of protection mode and back into connection mode, their brain becomes available again. Available to listen, available to problem solve, available to cooperate. Imagine that, a home with fewer battles, more teamwork, and more moments where your child wants to work with you and not against you. That's possible, and it starts by seeing defiance not as disrespect, but as a signal the brain is in protection mode. So first we want to regulate before we respond. Your calm is the strategy. Before you switch their brains into connection mode, you have to make sure your own brain is in connection mode. Typically, you can pause before reacting, drop your shoulders, lower your voice. This is going to increase the felt sense of safety. And use just one calming phrase, such as, I'm here, you're safe, or we'll figure it out. For you, as the parent, use micro-regulation tools. What do I mean by that? Calm yourself down quickly, right? 3-second inhale, 6-second exhale. Step back 1 foot. Look away for a second. Regulation is not letting them get away with anything. It's setting up their brain to cooperate. Next, we're going to decode the defiance. Defiance is a message, and it's rarely about the thing in front of you. Your child is saying, something feels too hard, too big, too unfair. And when we decode that message, we stop reacting to the behavior and start responding to what our child's brain is struggling with underneath. So here are 3 ways you can interpret defiance that will help you instantly understand what's really going on underneath that beat. First, is it overwhelmed? Sometimes the no you're hearing is really, I can't handle this transition, or this is too many steps for me. This might show up when you ask your child to clean their room, or get in the car, or stop playing and come to dinner. Suddenly, their brain hits overload, and the pushback is saying, I don't have the skills to do all that right now. You could say to them, looks like this is too much at once. Let's slow it down. And then give them the steps. Is the defiance a power protection? Other times, defiance is about your child wanting autonomy. It's your child's way of saying, I need to feel like I have some control. Kids do crave independence. And when they feel bossed around or powerless, they protect that sense of self with resistance. You might want to say, you want to say in how this happens. Let's choose together. And the next is defiance as disconnection. Sometimes it's emotional, right? Your child feels criticized, misunderstood, ashamed, even if that's not what you intend to do. When your kids feel disconnected, they go into protection mode, and the no becomes a shield for them. You can say something to them like, You're not in trouble. I'm here to help. Okay, so now it's connected boundaries. This is where our firmness meets warmth. We're going to go through empathizing and validating, then holding a boundary, and then offering support to our child. Now, I want to be clear here. You're not going to always be able to say just one thing to empathize and quickly move on. Sometimes you have to sit in the feeling with your child, and you really have to understand what your child is feeling. If they don't believe that you really feel how they feel, they're going to call you on it. And I promise you, they're not going to accept moving on to the next step. So I'm going to give you some brief examples so you can understand this formula. But when you're doing it at home, it may look different with your child. You may spend a little more time on one area or another. So let's say your child doesn't want to stop playing. You could say something like, "You don't want to stop playing. It's still time for bed. You can walk or be carried like a burrito upstairs." Or if it's time to turn off the tablet, you may say, "You're mad about turning off the tablet. The tablet goes off at 6 p.m. I can sit with you while you calm your body." Remember this, boundaries feel safest when they aren't delivered like a threat. So you want to be mindful of the tone of voice you use and your posture. So now let's put it all together with an example. Imagine your 7-year-old child has to put on their shoes. They snap back with, "No, I'm not doing it." Most parents feel that spike of frustration because it looks like simple disobedience to them. But let's decode it. They're really overwhelmed because they were deep playing in a game. They feel ordered around and want some control. And when you raise your voice, they feel criticized, not connected. So their nervous system goes into protection mode, not cooperation mode. You lead first with empathy and slow things down. You can say, "Wow, you don't want to stop playing that game. It looks really fun. It's so hard to leave it." Give your child a moment to respond to this. They may say something back to you that you then respond to, or they may not, and you can transition the conversation by giving them what they want in fantasy. That might look like, "I wish we could stay here all day and play that game." Pause again. Don't rush the conversation. By putting some time in here, you can avoid all the time it takes to manage the meltdowns that usually happen. Then you can say, "I know you don't want to stop playing, and we do have to leave now." You can work together with your child on a solution. This helps build their upstairs brain's critical thinking and problem-solving powers. You may say something like, "We can leave the game out, and then we could pick up where we left off when we come home. Or we can move it over to the table so it's safe." For older kids, you may want to involve them more in the decision-making of where to leave the game or what to do with it so that they're flexing their own problem-solving muscles. This is when cooperation will reappear. Then you can more easily transition them and say something like, "Way to go, you can put on the black shoes or the red ones." Now you're speaking directly to what their brain actually needs. If you're tired of the same daily battles and want a calmer home with more cooperation, head over to my website at www.abrighterfuturecounseling.com/newsletter and join me each week with tips and tricks that really work and are backed by brain science.